I'm not sure if you ever used modules before. I mean, when I say module, I'm talking about JavaScript modules. Okay, so I'm going to go here and create a Unit 5. And we'll do a module demo first. We'll go to Node. So here, say I'm going to have a folder called modules. And I'm going to also have a file, just my usual index HTML. And inside the module, I have my main JS script, okay? And then maybe I have another script here. Maybe this is for like the functions script. Okay, so let's build the index first. I'm using two JS files, and this is quite common when you have, let's say, in your main script, it grows so huge, right? It's grow really big, and so what you do is you break it into multiple files. You don't want to have a really big file to run, so you can break it into multiple files. So let's say that I like to separate all my functions and put my functions into another file. Okay, so instead of putting my functions here, I'm going to put in the functions file. So a JS file in this case is usually it's called a module, even though we just call it a script. So let's say here in the functions, I have a function called get name. And the inside here, I have a name variable for my name here. Okay, and then this is going to return the name back. So now let me collapse this side. And let me split in two, you can see better. Okay, so my function's over here, and then over here is my main JS file, and I can use that function in here. But before we do that, let's go to the HTML. So if you want to use both of those scripts, you have to import them in here, right? Script. And order is important. I want to get the functions first, so I can call it. I use the functions, and then also need my other ones. So let's duplicate that. Okay, Alt-Shift down, and this is the main script. So my main script, right, depends on the function script, and then so on. So now, because when I load these two scripts into this environment, this namespace, all of these functions in code are accessible, are available, right? I lost my other file, sorry. Okay, so they are all available in the same space as if I just, write them right in here if I had this correct order. So that means when I load it, I'm able to access the functions in the main module here. So I can, let's do this first. Let's do H1, so we can see here, module demo. And let's say you have a button here just to show show name. And then we'll output the name right in here in H2, okay? Yeah, we'll give an ID, so it's just easier. Output. One would be, okay? And let me style my body just to make it center. Really simple script to almost script. Okay, let's see. All right, let's run first. Okay, so here is the result of that. Okay, just really simple page. When I click the show name, I'm gonna load the function and then display the name right below this button here. So back to the main script. So you want to wrap this with the unload, right? Because you want to wait until the DOM is loaded using the arrow function again. And then now, once I run the page in the browser, the functions module would have been loaded. And then by that time, when the main is loaded, I would have access to this function already, right? Okay, so somewhere down here, I want to call that function. But first, let's target the button and the output first. Let btn is document get. I use query selector, shorter query selector. The ID is, I think it's the show. Okay, and the other one is output. So document query selector, ID is output. Okay, so those are my two targets. Okay, so now let's attach the event to the button. ETN, add event listener. Okay, event is going to be a click event. And then here we'll just use the anonymous function, okay? Again, the arrow function goes right in here. When we click the button, I want to get the name function. Okay, so you can put here, say, the name is equal to get name. You see that it's available here, right? I just call that function, I got the name, and then now I just want to display that to the output. So output dot, we can just put the inner HTML equals the name. Right? So very simple like that. So let's give it a try and see if this works. Back to my browser. Okay, so here it is. I'm gonna refresh it just in case, and I load. So here's my name, right? So that's how you usually do, right? When you have a lot of scripts and you want to load them, you want to load them in the order that they come in. If this one is depending on the other one, so make sure that one loads first. Again, depends how you create your data. If it's a function like the way I have here, then it doesn't really matter. Well, yeah, but usually you put in that order, right? So imagine if you have like 10 scripts, you need them. So it's gonna grow, right? A lot, okay? So instead of doing this way, you can use what's called modules. So with a module, you have a single entry into all your JS files. What module does is it allows you to export this function or this code to another module. So by the way, every script here you see here is self-contained only in this file. They are not available to this file. The way it's available here is because I expose it here. Okay, so the HTML expose all the function or the code inside this function so that this can access it. If I did not have that in here, like that, okay? And if I go back and rerun my script again, and you're going to see that it doesn't work. And if you try the F12, it will tell you that get name is not defined. Okay, so it's not available in this case, it's hidden. So how do you make it work? Well, one way is you put it here, right? And this will grow, I showed you earlier. The second way is to make this into a module and you export this out. So whatever I have in here, this functions file, if I want to expose anything to the outside world, I use the export directive. Okay, export here takes an object, and whatever I pass to this export will be accessible to the other module in where I can import them in. So here I'm going to export the get name function and any other things I want. So here I'm exporting the function called get name, do the export. And then on the main function, if I want to use it, I would just import it through the import directive. And then where's it coming from? So you put import something from, and then here is a string that goes to that directory. So it would go to the functions directory, and then the name would be just the functions. I think they're in the same file, same directory. If it's in a different directory, you will go, / directory name / function.js, whatever it is. Okay, so my script is called function.js. This // if you are not aware, it just means the current directory. If you don't do that // it treats it very differently. Okay, so the current directory, the file, because they are in the same directory. Okay, so now I import what I need to import. Well, you have to know what you need. I need the get name. So whatever is placed inside the export here, only those names will be accessible in here. Otherwise, you can't access them. So I have the one that says get name. I use the same name. Now, this name here has to be exactly the same name as this one here. If you call a name, if you call it X, it's going to be X, whatever it is, okay? And if you want to change it to something else, you can change it here too. Instead of says get name, I'll just say use that as just get, right? If you do that, then this is the alias for this. So it's a shortcut. So instead of get name, I just say, get. Okay, So let's see if this thing works. And it should not work because one step is missing, and I need to tell you why, but I'm going to show you anyway. As you can see, it says cannot use import statement outside a module and the main.js one. Okay, what this means is that when you use module in your script, okay, it is the main module and you want to export this or use this in your HTML, then this script here, you have to change to the type called module. That's the requirement. If your main.js imports other scripts into your main.js file, then you must change it to a module, otherwise it won't work. Okay, so now I don't need this anymore, right? Because I import it here. And let's see if this still works. As you can see, the error goes away. Let me refresh this, and there it is. Okay, you see that it worked just like before. So now you see how powerful modules can be. I can have one single entry file, and I can have tons of other files, and I can import them in. I can import exactly name as is, or I can rename it to something else. Okay, and if you have like two of them, say I have a constant pi 3414, I want to export that too, or you just put right in here, call it pi. Okay, so in your main library, if I need pi 2, you put here pi. Okay, and then now I can use pi as well. And just for fun, we could just say get name with a name plus space and then plus pi. And I should be able to show them both here. Okay, so export all you need. You can leave some private. If pi is only used only inside this module, you don't need to expose that. Then don't export it. What we exported out will be accessible from by other modules. You can also put the export directly here, like that too. I'm going to show you different ways how to export your objects. Okay, if I do that, I don't need to do it here again. Okay, so this is useful for if you export multiple. This is for only individual ones, like inline export. Here you export a list of all these objects. So either way you do it, it's fine.